Chris Watt with Fire Follows. What's up, brother?
It's good to talk to you. I appreciate you. I'm calling in from Colorado.
Yeah, of course, dude.
So, how would you, for someone that's never listened to your music, how would you break it down for them?
I always refer to it as heavy melodic rock. That's the best way I can describe it. It's to me, it's not really metal. I think like categorically, that's where most people would classify it. But most of the songs are like they originate just as piano pieces and sort of evolve from there. So it's definitely hard rock, but it's got a lot of kind of organic melodic elements to it.
Interesting. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not really metal, but it certainly has some hard elements. Where
Yep.
like the new video you have out right now, I was checking that out, and there's definitely a lot of different elements in that song for sure.
Yeah.
Now so you write all the songs on piano.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I mean, uh, it's just the easiest tool for me to at least chord everything out and kind of get the basic structuring of the songs. And if you've got a really hooky chorus, to me anyway, when you're just writing it as a piano piece, then you start adding guitars and all the synth elements and the strings and everything else.
Very cool. Because I'm always interested in how people write. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So this is all you, huh? Like you're doing everything on these albums.
Yeah, 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 100%, man. It's all the instrumentation, all the production. The production is what takes the most time. Writing out the parts and playing it's pretty quick, but doing the engineering and the producing, it's a painstaking process.
Oh, I'll bet, man. Well, those are all everything you're doing is a specialized job potentially, and you're doing all of it yourself.
That's exactly it, man. Yeah.
So, with that said, do you have plans to get any musicians together and put a band together and play any shows? How's that gonna work out?
Yeah, so I've got a group of musicians right now. It's a little bit tricky because, obviously writing and producing all of the elements, you're basically bringing players in,
Right.
right? Which is kind of unconventional in this genre of music. So, like the guys that I've got right now, and actually the girl that I've got, she's a incredible drummer. They're kind of all teed up and ready to go. I'm just sort of waiting to get some really viable touring opportunities in place before trying to really pull these people together and asking them to start investing time into the Fire Follows project.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now you went through some crazy stuff in your life. We'll get to that in a second. But
Sure.
before then to now, has your musical taste changed? How you approach music? Obviously, I know it's changed, but is this kind of what you're doing before? Or is it totally different now?
It's really similar in terms of the writing. I think it's just this is the natural kind of way that I write and hear music. But over the years, I mean, I think I just listen to more stuff now. I mean, when I'm driving around, all I'm really listening to all day is country music,
Okay.
ironically. But listen to a little bit of everything. I don't like most of the stuff, to be honest, in most genres that I hear, but there's always select stuff within each genre that I really like. And I think there's some consistencies to be had there. And I just try to incorporate all of those things that I liked, especially from a melodic standpoint, into sort of the hard rock metal stuff.
So, obviously, you've been through a lot, and obviously you've talked about it. I've seen other interviews, and it's even in your press statement and all that.
Sure.
Obviously, a dark time, but you've luckily though been able to find the positive in that.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, it was the worst thing I ever experienced, and I never thought I would have to go through some shit like that. But what it did is it gave me a chance to basically invest time into all the other instruments that I, now play obviously much better than I did before. So, you know, during those years of not being able to sing and not really being able to speak, you just kind of isolate yourself, and it's like, well, what else are you gonna, what else are you gonna do, right? So, really amped up, obviously, the musicianship on the drums, on the keys, on the guitar, and it's been a blessing in disguise, I guess, because now it gives me the opportunity to go in and without having to really rely on anybody else, I can just create this stuff completely in house, which is
Right.
pretty cool.
That is real
Yeah.
cool for sure. I assume you probably played these instruments to some extent before, but now you're just obviously much better at them.
You got it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always you just pick stuff up, right? And it's like, okay, this feels fairly natural. And But then, you take 5, 6, 7 years of doing nothing but that, and it's amazing how much you can improve on all those
Oh,
different
for
bits.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's great, man. Well, I'm glad you're able to use that as a positive. You know what I like too nowadays? Like, it seems people are willing to share. Like back in the day, musicians and actors and stuff might have been going through stuff you never heard about, but now
Right.
you kind of hear about it more, and it helps a lot of people. And I think that's
Yeah,
great when someone will share their experiences.
yeah. I'm glad to hear you say that. I mean, I always kind of think twice about how much I want to, bring it up because I don't want the backstory of the voice loss and all that stuff to overshadow the music. But at the same time, if it's helpful and it speaks to people that are going through some stuff, then I think it's a good thing, and I guess I want to highlight it as much as makes sense.
Cool. No, I agree, and that's the thing. Like, I don't really want to focus it on it either because obviously that's, I'm sure, all you're hearing about. But I think it's important though because it does help people though, for
Yeah,
sure.
no, glad to hear that, brother. Yeah.
Cool, cool. So I'll totally switch it up then. So what did you listen to growing up?
Man, it's funny. I don't know. Growing up, it just kind of whatever. There was no like um, specific thing. I guess it wasn't until I hit about 15, 16 years old when I discovered. I remember I first heard the song "Poem" by Taproot. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yep.
that song. Those guys, yeah. And I'd never heard anything like it before. And then shortly after finding them, I found a band called Flaw that I'm sure you know.
Yep.
They're actually the same label with me at over at Pavement, and um, I really dug into their Through the Eyes album, and it was just crazy because it was this incredibly it's the stuff that I try to create now. It's like, to me, that they're a heavy melodic rock band, and Chris Voles, their lead singer, vocalist. I mean, lyrically and everything else, like he's just so dynamic. And so I was super influenced by that. And then of course, Breaking Benjamin and Shine Down, all these bands kind of came shortly after that, and it just I was sold, man. Whatever that was, at that time, that kind of influx of this hard rock stuff. Um, that's what I knew I ultimately wanted to be doing.
That's cool, man. Very cool. Yeah, those guys are good. Pavement's got a lot of those type of bands. They
Yeah.
and they do actually a great job promoting the bands too. So that's great. You're on Pavement.
Yep.
I guess Scott Wilson from Saving Abel. I guess you know him, right? He's the one that hooked you
Yep.
up. Yeah, he's a good dude for sure.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Scott's the one that he's out here in Colorado Springs. He's got Sunshine Studios that really kind of burgeoning music venue out here. But yeah, Scott, I tracked the album, the If It's War You Want EP, and was kind of sitting on it. And I reached out to Scott and said, "What do I do with this, man?" And he goes, "I got a guy for you." And
That's
so
awesome.
he sent me over to Pavement. Yeah,
That's very cool.
yeah.
Are you working with have you any other companies or anything like that? Anything else in the works?
I've got some other groups that I'm talking to. Um, we'll see how everything pans out. But at the moment, it's just doing the Pavement thing and trying to figure out where we're going next.
That's cool, man. Where would you
Yeah.
want people to go to check you out? Like, where's the best place for them to follow you and check out your music and see what you're up to?
Just Google Fire Follows. Anything, whether it's Facebook. I don't do a ton of the Instagram stuff, but I am on there. And then obviously they can go to the website as well. Appreciate you having me on, brother.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time, and we'll definitely keep a lookout for you.
This is Chris Watt. Shout out to Industry Music Mag.